All right, so welcome to this month's Making the Familiar Strange. My name is Megan Griffiths, and I am the new Mission Advancement Coordinator here at Trifaith. So this is my first time here. So welcome to anybody else who is also new, and welcome to all of you who are regular attendees. So let's see, I think that's everybody that's waiting. Okay, so first just the goals for Making the Familiar Strange is to, look at scripture through new perspectives. And sorry, I'm just trying to, my screen is in the way of my own notes. There we go. Studying Abrahamic scripture alongside each other and encourage new perspectives and points of view. And our ground rules are just to be as respectful as possible and to challenge your own assumptions about these stories. It's okay if they make you feel uncomfortable or you disagree with them, but that's part of sort of the fun of it, as it seems. And it's also important to speak from your own point of view using I statements and to just keep an open mind as you hear new sides of the story. Just a few quick announcements. Thursday, we're hosting a death cafe with Ariel O'Donnell, who is a death doula. It's actually filled up already for this month, but because we had such a high registration, it filled up so quickly, we are planning to do another one, possibly in January. We haven't gotten the date set, but keep a lookout for that if that's something that you're interested in. And also in December, I believe it's on December 6th at 1 p.m. at Zen Coffee. Natalie Hanway, who's one of our student workers from UNO, is hosting a SIP symposium, sort of a coffee talk around religious identity and diversity in the workplace. And our talk today is with Jennie Gates Beckman. She is the Director of Education, is that correct? At Temple Israel. And she's going to be talking with us about the traditions of the Mezuzah. So I will turn it over to Jennie. Let me unshare my screen. Oops, stop sharing.
I don't think you were sharing your screen. Did I see? I didn't see anything. Did anyone see something?
I saw it.
Yes.
Oh, it's just my view. Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just had our ground rules and basic stuff. So let me make sure here.
Like 4 slides or so.
Okay. Yeah. So Jennie, off to you.
Awesome. Well, first, I just wanted to thank Trifaith for inviting me to be here and to join you all. I have to say that going through some of the recordings of the past, Making Familiar Strange, gave me heart palpitations because they looked more like scholars presenting a lecture course, and that is the direction I did not go in. But I did want to give a little bit of background on my street cred, what experiences I'm bringing to the table. I actually grew up in Omaha at Temple Israel, and after attending UNO, decided I wanted to go to graduate school to be a Jewish communal professional. And I went to Brandeis on the East Coast to do that. And as part of my studies there, I took a lot of Near Eastern and Judaic studies classes. And so I was trying to think of like what text I wanted to talk about. And I just had an aha moment when I was going through some of the materials that our teachers prepare. I'm now the Director of Education here, which means I oversee the religious school. And I came across this book, A Mezuzah on the Door, and it made me remember the moment back at UNO when I took an undergrad class on New Testament with Paul Williams, Professor Paul Williams, who I believe is like involved in a few things at Trifaith, but he had, I guess prior to that undergrad class in college, I had never really experienced New Testament. I had not seen it. I had not studied it. I had obviously a certain amount of knowledge about Christianity, given that I grew up in Omaha, Nebraska, surrounded by Christianity, but didn't have much textual knowledge. And so I had an assignment where we had to get up in front of the class and share a text that was like very intriguing to us, or like spoke to us. And I came across this, I saw it on a billboard of a church. You know how sometimes they post, and it was Mark, I think it was Mark 12:29, which is, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one." And I had this just confused moment of thinking, I don't know. Obviously I was young at the time. I think I was 17 when I did this presentation, and I was very naive and did not know very much at all. And I came to class like super pumped to tell people, like, guess what? This isn't even the New Testament. It's like, it's from the Old Testament. And but I hadn't put all the work needed into it to get the context of, you know, clearly, if you read before that and you read after that, you see that there's context. Jesus is quoting, and was this moment where it was both a little bit embarrassing and also like kind of freeing and exciting to discover the ties between Judaism and Christianity through that text. And so when I was preparing for this, I kind of went through you know, the usual suspects online to see. I'm like, I know there has to be, like, this is in well, first I'll start with text. In Judaism, text that appears first on the scroll inside of a mezuzah is a declaration of monotheism. And so that is something clearly that the Abrahamic faiths share. And so we'll get into the detail of the text in a little bit, but I did want to kind of share an example of what's inside, because so a mezuzah is this little decorative case. That's what the word mezuzah references. It technically means doorpost, but you use the word mezuzah to describe this case that has a empty, usually either has now this one is broken in half because we literally just moved in a new couch and it broke off my doorpost, and therefore it was convenient to bring in. So there are many different kinds of cases that people choose, and the case is not the important part. The important part is the scroll that's inside. And this one had been with me for a long, long time. I had someone get it from Israel for me. And it's if you have what they call a kosher cloth, which cloth is the term for the actual scroll, it is made of parchment paper, just like the Torah is, the scrolls of the Torah, and then written by a scribe in the same manner is this prayer that we're going to discuss. And I know you can't see that at all, but you can see that it's like kind of a handwritten object, and it's pretty. I always thought these were very, very cool growing up. I had a very special educator who helped us make our own mezuzot in religious school, and I now have that on another door in my house. But the reason that Jewish people and Jewish institutions have these on their doorposts is given right on the scroll. So it contains text. The text that is on this scroll that I just showed is a quote from Deuteronomy, and these were all shared beforehand, but Deuteronomy 6, lines 4 through 9, and then Deuteronomy 11, 13 through 21. And for Jews familiar with a service, this is the Shema and the Ve'ahavta. And Shema is that declaration of monotheism, the Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai alone. There are all different translations, but then it continues with further instruction of the Ve'ahavta means to love. So you shall love your God, Adonai, with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And I'm going to share my screen, so you don't need to just stare at me. You can read what I'm reading. I just want to make sure I'm only sharing. I'm only sharing this one. Okay. Share. So, this is, I have this pulled up the 4 through, we almost get down to 9. But the Ve'ahavta starts out, you shall love your God Adonai with all your heart and with all your soul, with all your might. Take to heart these instructions with which I charge you this day. Impress them upon your children. Recite them when you stay at home and when you are away, when you lie down and when you get up. Bind them as a sign on your hand and let them serve as a symbol on your forehead. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. So the quote itself is rather self-explanatory in the sense of you can in hindsight you can match up why this scroll is posted to the doorposts. It's this outward sign of faith in Judaism, but also it serves as a reminder. And you'll see it always depends. Like, obviously I'm speaking about my experience. I grew up in a Reformed congregation and went to the East Coast and experienced a lot of, I think, an infusion of conservative and Orthodox Jews that I engaged with on a daily basis. And I would say that these commandments are observed at varying levels by the Jewish people, but you'll see those who observe this commandment like to the T. If you enter a space, you'll often see them put their hand on the mezuzah and then kiss their hand, or kiss their hand and then put their hand on the mezuzah. Like, there are varying opinions of that, but it's this really cool visual, not only as a personal practice as you're entering, as you're leaving, but also as it's kind of this really, I always saw it as a cool signal. Growing up Jewish in Omaha was like one of few people. And if you see a mezuzah on a building or on a home, it's just like, oh, I wonder if they're Jewish, or if someone Jewish used to live there. Technically, you're supposed to, there's all these rules. It's so fun. Like, because most people, I think, like, mezuzah cases are given like as gifts. And so usually there's significance behind them, and the scrolls are not inexpensive if you have a real scroll. Now, I have to say, the first 25 years of my life, I had a photocopy of the words that was rolled into my homemade mezuzah. But so some people do take them with them, but others leave them behind, especially that, like, if you know that there's another Jewish family moving in. So I wanted to, I'm going to skip ahead to look at just the continuation, because there's Deuteronomy 11, 13 through 21, which is also on here. And it's just kind of, I just want to flesh out the rest of what's inside. So if then you obey the commandments that I enjoin upon you this day, loving your God and serving God with all your heart and soul, I will grant the rain for your land in season, the early rain and the late. You shall gather in your new grain and wine and oil. It goes on so much. It like basically sharing all of these things which God shares that will be shared with us if we believe in God, and this huge declaration. Now, the reason I'm gonna just go through these a little faster because I want to focus in on some of the pieces that really connect. It repeats again down line 19, 20, 21 about therefore impress these upon your very heart, bind them as a sign on your hand, let them serve as a symbol on your forehead, and teach them to your children, reciting them when you stay at home and when you are away, when you lie down and when you get up, and inscribe them on the doorpost of your house and on your gates. The end that you and your children may endure in the land that Adonai swore your fathers to assign to them, as long as there is heaven over the earth. So this is like a huge central prayer to Judaism. And that's I think that's as much as I wanted to give the context of that piece. But then also it's, if we jump over to Mark 12:29, it's this, I want to read the full chapter though. It is in here, wait, 12, I lost it again, 12:29. So it's talking about the first commandment, and one of the scribes is coming near to Jesus having this conversation, and asks, which commandment is first of all? And Jesus answered, the first is, hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. And it goes on to say, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and all your strength. And so I'm curious, this is the point where I have more to say, and I definitely have the third element, which is this declaration which appears in the Quran. But I'm curious if there are any folks who want to share either a personal connection to this verse or give us more background to what context you know about the New Testament, because the New Testament piece, I mean, I could go on and on about what I think I know, but I think part of the unique thing about this program is the discussion part, and that's what I'm really excited about. So is anyone interested in speaking up?
Yeah, and if anybody is not comfortable speaking up, if you want to ask any questions in the chat, I'm happy to relay those as well.
Or if anyone has questions about what I've covered this far. It went fast, but I really liked the fact that, I mean, for me, it was significant that we have this declaration that is then emphasized in the New Testament. And then actually, maybe I'll do this first really quick, is share the line from the Quran that I was suggested to explore is, O Prophet, he is Allah, one and indivisible. And there are a lot more, there are articles that unpack this much further, but this is like just a very obvious touchstone of the commonality of declaration of monotheism. Deborah, you're unmuted. Did you want to say anything?
Oh, well, I was going to say, yeah, that the New Testament portion that you quoted was presented to me as a teenager. I don't remember it as a child, but as a teenager, as yeah, Jesus was Jewish. This is where these things tie together. So to me, that is just part of the water we swim in. But I don't know that that's true in all Christian experiences, but that was my background.
Mhm. Anyone else? I'm a teacher. I'm good at waiting.
My name is Bill.
Bill.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm a Christian, and yeah, I've always liked this passage, and I'd also add that it goes on to say, the scribe said, well, he added the second one, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. There is no other commandment greater than these. And the
Mhm.
scribe said to him, you are right, teacher. You have truly said that he is one, and besides him there is no other. And to love him with all the heart, with all the understanding, and with all the strength, and to love one's neighbor as oneself, this is much more important than all burnt offerings and sacrifices. When Jesus saw that he answered wisely, he said to him, you are not far from the kingdom of God. And after that, no one dared to ask him any question. It's kind of it puts me in mind of there's an element of fear around the people who had been hanging around Jesus, thinking, if you're going to ask him something, have your ducks in a row right before you ask him. And this guy did, and congratulated him and said, yeah, you're right. But as the person before me was saying, yeah, it's that swimming in the same water. I like that. Yeah. Yeah. Jesus was Jewish, definitely.
It's wonderful how it ties in, and I'm curious in terms of practice, because this is the piece where my knowledge is not as robust. So in practice, this is the source text in like the Deuteronomy quotes for Judaism. It's the source text, and that's on like the Bible study level, and then it is tied into Jewish liturgy, meaning it's woven into our weekly prayer services and to daily observance. So traditional Jews also, like as referenced in some of these quotes, say the Shema when they wake up in the morning and when they go to bed. And so it's woven into ritual, both of the daily ritual, the weekly ritual, and interaction with the world around you. And I was curious if there are practices within Christianity or Islam that reference like practices that reference text in the same way, and kind of weave in the layers of text, liturgy, and daily practice.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Not in the Protestant vein that I'm familiar with. I think that's a real asset in Judaism, and I think in Islam, that ritualistic practices just make you more mindful. But I think Protestantism kind of threw some of the good things away with more traditional Orthodox practices, perhaps.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think just for my own faith tradition, I'm an Episcopalian and was raised United Methodist. And the use of the creeds, like especially in the Episcopal Church, we say the Nicene Creed every week. And it doesn't specifically say the same language of the Lord our God, the Lord is one, but it has that repetition of like, I believe in God the Father. And so I wonder like how much that is like might be inspired by these texts.
And mainline Protestants threw those away, and many, not all, but many of us did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up in fundamental Baptist And it was not only thrown away, it was demonized.
Mm.
It was seen as bad to have those type of overtly liturgical elements to the, service or your day or whatever. Yeah, you said, daily grace before your meal, thank you God for this food type thing, but it wasn't built on text or whatever. It was very much rote, of course, but that was about the extent, and anything else liturgical was,
Mhm.
actively discouraged.
I was thinking about the number of times in teaching using someone else's curriculum, the number of times that we're told as Christians to have students memorize the 10 Commandments. And it happens over and over in all kinds of curriculum. And I finally said, how many of you can remember 10 of anything? Let's see if we can remember these two that Jesus said were the most important. And I think if we really remember those and really live those, the rest of the commandments will pretty much take care of themselves.
I think that's a really good insight, that these two aspects kind of encompass a lot of what the faith is about.
Right. And sort of if you break down the 10 Commandments, the first few are about
Right.
loving God, and the other
Yeah.
ones are about loving neighbor.
Right. Right.
Hi, Lisa.
Hey, Jenny. I was just going to say too, I don't think we're digressing too much from your talk, but it might be interesting for people to understand what the portion that deals with wearing this as on your forehead and on your hand. Because that's referenced and also used in many of the Orthodox traditions. And so it might be interesting for you to mention that too.
Okay, I'm going to be really honest. I did a lot of this research like a week and a half ago, and I had this document of all of my notes, and somehow it did not get saved. And I am a person who does most of my things like writing in a physical notebook, and it was rare that I was like, surfing the internet, cutting and pasting different things, and it just disappeared. So that was one of the things I was going to touch on here. I'm going to stop my share, and I want to bring up, I just want to double check because I do want to explain fill in. This is what Lisa is referencing, and I'll find I'm gonna try and find an image of them because I don't have them on me, but these are an additional ritual object in Judaism that helps remember and physically connect with these words. And so I'm finding. It's like the first thing that comes up is tefillin for sale. So funny. No, I don't want to buy it. I want to see it. All right. So this is a nice, I love wiki how to do anything. Now I'm going to share. This is amazing that this is a thing. So also a little risky because I'm using something I haven't screened. But, so tefillin it's this box, and here I'm going to use my arrow. So the box, it contains a similar piece of parchment with these words on it, and then there are these leather straps that connect one's body, and this is typically only a practice that men do. And so there's one box that goes on your head and one that goes on your arm. And then there's a very specific way that the leather is bound. And here, let's see what else it tells us. I love it. Remove it from the bag. This is starting at the beginning. Put the case in a safe place. And then, oh, that's so fascinating. Roll up the sleeve of your weak arm to allow enough room for the arm box to be placed. I was hoping for an explanation because this is, you know, not my area of expertise, but this is definitely like the other main ritual object that's connected to this. And as you read through the text, it describes basically, yeah, so there's a prayer to recite the blessing of wearing tefillin, and then there is a tightening. And again, I like, if I were a man and I led the exact life that I have led of being on various campuses on the East Coast as a Jewish person, like if I were a man, I would have gone through this experience if I had not, you know, because it's seen as a, like, this is a commandment, and the translation, the Hebrew for commandment is mitzvah. And so one of the core teachings of, I think, like, my intersection with this practice as a liberal Reform Jew has been mostly in a campus setting where Chabad rabbis are like, are you Jewish? Because if they ask if you're Jewish, and if you're a woman, you get some candlesticks to light for, candles for Shabbat. And if you're a man, usually they ask to help you wrap, fill in, and say these blessings. And it's, oh, wow. So there are varying customs regarding winding patterns. So consult a rabbi if you're not sure what to do. I love that. But this is, yeah, this is like, even in Bethel, the conservative synagogue in Omaha, this is taught in religious school to boys. And I don't even know. This is like, I feel silly that I don't know the answer to this. I don't know if girls learn to wrap, fill in. But the Reform movement kind of did away with this element of practice in Judaism. But thank you, Lisa. That's a huge, it's a very good tie-in to bind them as a sign on your hand, let them serve as a symbol on your forehead. And that's the reasoning behind putting the box on the forehead and the box on the arm. So I, as a very, oh, there's something in the chat. Oh, Rabbi Stoller raps, yes. And the Women of the Wall in Israel rap. Just to be clear, there are definitely Reform Jews who rap tefillin. It is just not something that is so widespread that it's taught like in religious school. But it's something that everyone is open to exploring as a practice to deepen their relationship.
Now, Jenny, it talks about
something.
It talks about like impressing upon your children. Is there any like ritual with that, or is that just like sharing? Or is that more metaphorical or like more literal?
I think, I mean, others can speak up on this point. I would say that is one of the core reasons. I mean, Judaism is very focused on children, raising your children in the faith and teaching them all the everything. And so it's, I obviously it's the only religion I personally have practiced. So I don't know how it differs across faith barriers, but like children are just so central that like teaching your children this is extremely core. So it's there's not a single ritual, but it's like, it's the water, it's the air we breathe.
Yeah, got it.
Okay. I had, what was my other, I had a couple other questions, but I didn't want to get too sidetracked. Where are my other questions? We didn't, I mean, we could go back, because I was like, I guess I was very focused on finding the connection points between the three faiths. And I'm a little bummed. I was hoping, I didn't specifically ask Abdullah to show up. He was talking, I was telling him I was doing this. I was hoping he would come and share a bit. I know he's like, today is a very busy day for him, but the Quran piece, I was just, I don't know if there's anyone on the call who has more insight into this text, because I know that it's been highlighted as a crossover piece of a connection point, and I didn't know if there was significance. I mean, it's very far into the Quran. It's like, if you look at the Quran as a book, like as a text, it's like at the very end. And so I didn't know if there was any significance to that. And I have to say, I did not do as much of the homework as I had wanted to do.
I just want to point out in the chat that Sharon has shared about Catholics wearing scapulars, which are little ribbon necklaces with wool squares worn under clothing as devotions, and they have prayers and artwork attached to them. So thank you, Sharon.
Oh, that's fascinating. Wow. No. Yeah, just that makes sense though, because I've do get a sense that there's a lot more ritual similarities between Judaism and Catholicism, and a lot of that was eliminated in trying to streamline towards Protestant practice, right?
This is Bill
Bill?
again. Hi.
Hi.
I've got a different translation of the Quran than what you've got. It's by
Yes.
someone named N.J. Dawood, D-A-W-O-O-D. And it's spelled K-O-R-A-N. But yeah, it's got that the one you're referencing is, in this book, it's called Oneness,
Mm-hmm.
the headline. Then in the name of God, compassionate and merciful is the sort of subhead. And it says, there are 4 verses, I guess. It says, verse 1, God is one, the eternal God. He begot none, nor was he begotten. None is equal to him. And that's the end.
Yeah.
So it doesn't
That's
say indivisible. It's fairly different.
It's fascinating because, okay, so because I use this Quran.com because I'd asked the Imam which one he uses, and so I just defaulted to this. But I also have, like, I inherited a blue Quran from my predecessor in this office, and I have mine is kind of more similar to what you read, Bill, because it says it's 4 verses, and the first one says, say he is Allah, who is one, Allah the eternal refuge. He neither begets nor is born, nor is there to him any equivalent. So it's it always fascinates me, the not insignificant differences between different translations. It can be so vast.
Yeah. But you're right, yours is closer to mine.
Yeah, and I'm trying, so I guess in this one, it's he is Allah one and indivisible. Allah the sustainer needed by all. He has never had offspring, nor was he born, and there is none comparable to him.
Okay.
So it's the full 4 verses.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so I know that there are hadith on the 112th Surah that it is equivalent to 1/3 of the Quran. Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah, I think that's from Jeremy.
That's really that's the kind of insight I was looking for, really, because I know that sometimes Judaism is really big on repetition. And so, like, something's important when it's in this text and this text and this text. Oh, the library crew. Any words from the library crew? You turned your camera on. I knew there was someone there. Lee, you have to unmute yourself and say hello.
We're unmuted.
Hi, Jenny.
Hi.
Jenny. Hi, Jenny. Yeah, there's 4 of us here.
Hey,
There were
Jenny,
5.
I'm late because I had to give a tour, but I wanted to watch it from the beginning. And the way you translated that or read off the blue Quran, I'm glad you have a blue Quran. But yeah,
I don't know if it,
no,
I just said it's the blue one. It was in my office when I got here. So I don't
Pretty.
know if it's good or not.
oh, it's legit. A Quran is
Okay.
a Quran. So, yeah. So that chapter is also called the chapter on unity. Okay. You want to hear it in Arabic, how it's pronounced?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Need me to
Right.
pull? It's up. It's up. Need to read. Oh, I'm like, do you know? Do you know?
Yeah. Oh, no, I don't need that. I don't need that.
Yeah, I know you don't need that.
All right. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of God, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Kul huwallahu ahad. Allahu samad. Lam yalid. Walam yulad. Walam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. Yeah, that's it. And that is also one of the commonly used chapters in our prayers. Okay. So one of the commonly used ones. It talks about God as being one, as being the creator, no offspring. He creates everything. And there was no one, like him. So, but great job.
I didn't read it in the Hebrew. Do you want me to read it in the Hebrew? I will do. I mean, because it's actually beautiful. The Ve'ahavta is often sung very, very beautifully. But this is the main text is the Shema. So Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha V'chol levavcha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol meodecha. Like, it's been a long time since I've been to services. I'm here on Sunday too much. I'm not going to read any longer because I would need to sing it. But it's so interesting because at the end of the last verse of the Arabic, it sounded like this is like echad. I'm like, ooh, I think I can I echad.
Ahad. Ahad. It is ahad without the cha sound.
What does it mean, that one word?
Yeah.
No one like him.
Yeah. God is
Like him.
one.
Yeah, him. Yeah, ahad.
But I mean, the meaning of that is like, is that one? Like, also, if you count to like 1 through 3, is it like?
Yes, it's one. Yes.
Yeah.
It's the same
Very
word.
cool. I love the similarities between Islam and Hebrew. It's just the connections are run very deep.
Right. And Jenny, I have a question. Is there any connection with the Mezuzah and like the Passover and marking the doors?
Oh, That's a really good insight. I don't think there is a direct connection. But you know, as I'm sure someone's talked about it,
Yeah.
right? It's like
I can't be the only person that's ever made that connection. That would be
not at all. No, you're not the first person. I think it's something, geez, I shut my door and the airflow stops. Sorry. It is something I've thought about because I know I just heard, now I'm forgetting the circumstances of the conversation, but I thought someone brought up that there was a sect of Christianity that in the observance of, they observe Passover by marking their doors. And that was how, like, I don't know, that's another, I feel like when you study all of the everything, it all seems to line up. But that's when there are so many threads that tie together.
Yeah.
And what you just pop in the
I
chat.
did a Google and I shared a link to a Kabbalah article, and they talk about, you know, the connection between Mezuzah and taking the blood and putting on the doorpost and the lintel and go through that. There are some other sources like OHR and others, but yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Karen.
Incredible. Now I feel bad that I didn't sing the Be'ahavta. I feel like I need to sing the Be'ahavta. Lisa, will you sing it with me?
You should.
So it's because it's muscle memory and I don't have, actually, let me grab my prayer book because
Hope she didn't say Lisa.
I said, Lisa,
No.
you're gonna sing it with me, right?
Did you not sing aloud? Comment.
Lee
But-
Needleman's volunteered.
Lee, you'll sing it with me.
Child, I can't sing. So.
I just feel really silly that it is seriously like I cannot sing it from the screen. I was trying to look at the Hebrew on the screen, could not say it, but the Ve'ahavta can chant Ve'ahavta. Oh wait. I'm on a thread.
You'll do just fine, Jenny.
Okay, are you ready? It's like my bat mitzvah.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm on a ball. That's why I'm bouncing. Sorry. My chair is an exercise ball. Feel free to join in, Lee.
Okay.
Okay. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol avavcha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadavarim ha'eleh asher anochi mitzavecha hayom alevavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'barta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'aderech uv'shachbecha uv'kumecha uv'shartam le'ot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uv'yisharecha. It also goes on.
Yeah.
But I'm choosing to stop there because I call that a win.
Yes, thank you.
Whew. What else? We have 10 minutes.
Yep.
Let's talk. I was just hoping it would be more conversational. I can talk about Is it a Debbie Friedman song that has the English of this that's really lovely? That's also something we could look up as a song. Yeah. This was, yeah. I'm like,
Yeah, it's on Spotify.
of course it is. You found it. Do you want to play it for us, Karen? I mean,
put the
you could
link
play it
in.
at like 2.5 speed. No, it's okay. I just feel like
I don't have
it's no,
co-host. so I
no
can't-
worry. It's
There it is. There's the link.
Thank you for sharing the link. I'm trying
Oh,
to
that's to the whole album.
Are there other, what are some of the other, I don't know, references to? Nope, I lost it. I had a question and then I lost it. Lisa, did you
Oh,
have
I was-
something?
Yeah, not that I always have to speak up, but it's just interesting. You showed a Mezuzah case that obviously had broken, but just to add that they're absolutely beautiful and interesting representations. You can get them at most gift shops in Israel, and I mean they can run hundreds of dollars or just a few dollars, but they're beautiful. You can get, you know, beautiful. It's almost like a piece of art.
Eileen, do that
I
again.
would say it is. It is like
It is.
many artists.
Wow.
Ooh, Eileen's showing us hers.
Oh, it's
Is that
gorgeous.
a
Ooh,
Rosenthal? That looks like his work. Rosenthal out of Maryland makes some. They even have, I mean, so there are, I used to be a board member of the Jewish Museum of Maryland, and we had they had a gift shop, and as a result of, I don't know, I volunteered for something, and as a thank you gift, they have car mezuzahs. So I have a
well,
mezuzah like on the doorpost of my car, which is it's a museum gift shop type of item. I'm not sure how legit it is, but it just makes me smile every time I see it.
I got a car mezuzah that I have from Israel.
Amazing.
I bought it from Israel,
Mhm.
and I have it on my car.
That's, I mean, as one does, it would be a shame to have a car mezuzah and not have it in your car.
Jeremy asked, because he was a bit late coming in, and you mentioned this before about your family, like you do have a mezuzah on your door of your house.
Yeah, so, well, I mean, at this very moment, my front door does
Right,
not have one,
yes.
which was a sign. This was a weird thing because this was after it was like 2 days after I had agreed to this as the subject of what I was talking about. And then like we're moving a new couch in and it just got knocked off. So, and it's stone. It's like, this one's made out of Jerusalem stone. So I'm going to try super glue. But there is a separate, I mean, there's a prayer for affixing the mezuzah, and it's, you know, the standard, blessed are you, Adonai, who has commanded us to affix the mezuzah. But the part of my children's book, often, do you see this, Lisa? Yeah, a mezuzah on the door is just a story about this family who's moving and the process of moving and what that means. And they actually like had a Hanukkah Habayit and like a party to celebrate their new home and dedicate their, like, I don't know how popular that is, but it's similar. The reason, I mean, because Hanukkah is obviously related to Hanukkah, and because Hanukkah means dedicate, and so like it's Habayit is the home, so dedication of the home. And you can have a lot of families just put the mezuzot up themselves, but it is customary to have a rabbi involved in the process. If it's like for example, when the JCC opened their new entrance to the property, they had a ceremony to kind of recognize the fact that we had a new doorpost and we put up a new mezuzah, and actually then I'm so glad I was not responsible for this piece of it, but like they were putting new mezuzot up all like the entire building, like the hundreds of doorways that there are in the building. We had these beautiful new mezuzot, and there are a few parameters as to how they need to be installed to be proper, but yeah. So we have one at home. I think I've growing up, we didn't necessarily have one on the front door. I think I had, like, our home growing up, probably the first one we had was the one I made in religious school. And I just, yeah, as I went further along in my journey, I kind of added a lot of the extra things like this. I think in a lot of families, it wouldn't be seen as extra. It would be just your custom, but yeah, I think it's, I'm curious how wide, there are a lot of data sets on like the what Jews do and do not do. You know, the Pew study people, they do all the research, right? So I'm sure that is a question, like, do you have a mezuzah in your home? I should have looked that up on the data, but the internet has it, you can find it. I'm sure it's probably pretty significant because it's a really good gift to get someone when they move. So Jewish family members, if there are some good grandparents, I'm sure they would gift a mezuzah if you got it.
Well, Karen shared a link from Shabbat.org about which rooms require mezuzah, and then Sharon just found the link for Pew Research on Jewish practices and customs.
Yeah,
and I included a link to our survey for today if anybody wants to fill that, but it'll also be on our follow-up email. So we only
it's
have 2
definitely
minutes left.
I can also answer the question
Yeah,
on one
yeah.
foot. It's every door except for the bathroom.
Great. Excellent. With 1 minute left, any other final questions, thoughts, pithy anecdotes to share?
I just want to thank you all for bearing with me in my non-academic study of the mezuzah and the contents of the scroll.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. This is my first Making the Familiar Strange as well. So.
Yay, Megan!
Thank you. I'll be seeing you all next month. So also that reminds me, we do not yet have a speaker for December. So if anybody is interested, please contact me, or if you're interested in any future ones, please let me know, and I'll be happy to arrange that for a future one. So just keep that in mind. We might, if we don't get a speaker, we might just postpone that until January. So no problems there. But yeah, it's great to see you all, and I look forward to seeing you all again. Thank you so much.
Jen.